Good evening, loonies. This is the Hug Jacket Gamers. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. Us in here, we're doing okay. How are you, Eric?
Fantastic.
How about you, Tor?
I'm doing great. What about you, Peter?
I'm great. I feel like I've got a big weight off my shoulders. Completely nothing to do with me going to the barber shop earlier today. The guy who cut my hair, his name was Nissan.
Was
he a car?
No. No, he's a very nice Russian man. He was born in Russia, moved to Israel, then came here. Very nice guy. That has nothing to do with the podcast whatsoever. I just thought that our listeners might want to, know a little bit about us.
I hear he makes nice cars.
I tried my best not to make a joke about how I own a Toyota. So
There you go. Good job, man.
Fantastic.
that's like commendable, I guess. Today we're going to be talking about gaming news. We're going to talk about our unhealthy obsessions with different upcoming games, as well as what we're playing right now. So before we get into that, Eric,
Yes, sir.
how have you been since last week?
I've been well, man. I've been busy.
Busy doing what?
Working.
Just work?
Yeah, doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to game, but I've been gaming.
Dreaming.
Yeah, streaming.
You sound crazy. Tor, how about you?
I streamed a lot of Dark Souls 2, because that's kind of what we're doing for the next week for Bloodborne hype.
Bloodborne hype.
And so, yeah, I've just been streaming Dark Souls 2 and a little bit of modded Skyrim, apparently. Not really streaming any other games, just kind of Bloodborne hype.
Cool. Well, I didn't get to see much of that at all because you guys live together. Like, you guys get to do stuff. And I'm on the other side of town. But I'm sorry I gave you so much crap earlier about working, Eric, because that's pretty much all I've been doing, too.
No, it's cool. I mean, just putting, fitting the stream into times where I'm not completely exhausted is a challenge in itself. But then, also not getting demoralized by Dark Souls and, just...
Yeah, right.
I played it for like a good on stream for a good like 2 hours or something like that, and then we were going back and forth, every death or every couple of deaths, and then I came back to it after like an hour break. I sat down for like 15 minutes, died, and then just gave up the controller.
Yeah, seriously, that is what
Just like, I'm done.
And
then we bought Skyrim.
Yeah. I've actually just been having a tough time getting used to jumping in Dark Souls 2 because they changed the button layout, but I hear that's a good thing because they've changed the button layout in Bloodborne, so why get used to Dark Souls controls when it's all not going to matter?
Yeah.
Life is all about adapting to change. All right. Are you guys ready to do this?
Yeah,
let's
change
get
is
it
going to
started.
be very painful.
All right, loonies. We call this next segment Rumors from the Radio, where we tell you what we heard and then we kind of vomit it out into your ears as best as we could. What do we have first up?
A GameSpot article that I found about Valve says that we have to do better because they got an F grade for customer service or customer relations.
Is F good?
By the BBB. It does not stand for
it might have been-
fantastic.
Oh, I thought it was effing good.
It stands for fail. It's the lowest grade that they can give. The weird thing is that EA and Activision, which probably relies solely on Activision Blizzard for their customer service skills, they both have an A+. So what does it take for Valve to get an F from the Better Business Bureau? I really want to know because I've never had a problem with Steam. In fact, they have the best DRM software out there. You can play your games offline. There's
And I've never gotten an F, so I mean I don't even know what that feels
this
like.
is bullshit.
Before we go any further, I should mention that this article is called We Have to Do Better, Valve says, after F grade for customer service. It's by Eddie Makic, and it was published on March 16th of this year, 2015.
Way to go, Eddie.
So, as far as Valve getting a bad score, I've never heard of a gaming company actually getting involved with the Better Business Bureau. But of course they have to. I mean, it is a business, but with Valve getting such a failing grade, do you think maybe there's a disconnect? Maybe the Better Business Bureau doesn't have the right qualifications to really judge a video game company? Because I saw also on the article they mentioned that Activision, Blizzard, and Electronic Arts, two of the most hated, or people have a lot of hangups about them, two of the most hated companies in video gaming history,
Yeah.
they both got A-pluses this year.
I think, I mean, obviously, Better Business Bureau applies to all businesses, right? All, applicable businesses. But I think, yeah, and I think in Valve, EA, and Activision's like ballpark, where they're releasing so many products and representing so many different things, it is like essential to have some sort of standardized reputation. But I think you bring up a good point. It's like, are they even the right? Doesn't matter what they what they think, because it's not really, that's not what it's about. Maybe the business aspect isn't really what everybody focuses on. But it's not like local mom and pop shop who doesn't clean the rats out of the kitchen or whatever. If they get an F, people are gonna be like, well, I'm never gonna go there again. But if Valve gets an F, like in customer relations, who cares? Like, I'm still gonna buy games from Valve, and I'm still gonna I'm not gonna furrow my brow and be say, well, no more Valve until they shape up.
Yeah. I've got two things that I just thought of, crazy thoughts, but I'm going to let Tor speak because I think you have something.
Yeah. Well, what if, because, Valve has a very weird return policy in that of it's really up to the developer. And it's not,
right.
Yeah, it's just non-existent. It's up to the developer. And, so like Eric was saying, they publish so many games, right? Like, this could just be, blowback from Steam having such a lax return policy, and you can't get your money back for certain games. It's up to the developer, really. And
So sorry, you mean lax in terms of they haven't really done any preparation for it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of complaints. See, the Better Business
so not
Bureau
that it's very easy.
Is really just the Better Business Bureau really just takes complaints, and I don't even know if Valve is an accredited Better Business Bureau. That's just a thing that you can go and see. They're just, they will still give grades to people who are not accredited. I think Activision Blizzard is accredited, but EA is not, right? I don't think Valve is either. So they take complaints, and Valve even said they take their Reddit complaints and their Steam forum complaints a lot more seriously. So
which makes sense in an internet-based company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. We'll see how they'll do better. I don't really know the full situation of why or how, but yeah, I think it has to do with partially that return policy, because people buy stuff and they're like, oh, this sucked, or
I'm going to do a bunch of random speculation here, but Steam to me basically is like the internet's version of a walk-in video game store, except people don't come and upsell you. They don't try to explain, what your niece or nephew's going to enjoy for Christmas. You don't have that stuff getting in the way of you making your purchases. And I think that because of that, it's geared more toward people who play video games regularly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it makes sense to me that from maybe a general overview, from a general customer service standpoint, with the Better Business Bureau, they're totally not geared toward people who aren't gamers, who aren't familiar with the culture.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, because I see very often on Valve's front page, they advertise games that they're taking pre-orders for, and I get tricked oftentimes because there's no pre-order, there's no notification on the front page that suggests that it's a pre-order game. And then I click it and I see it's a pre-order, but it makes me think maybe somebody else is not noticing that. Maybe they go ahead and
Yeah.
click on that button, and they pay for the game, and they think they've got it, and they have no idea what the hell is happening.
And then they file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
Because why? Yeah, that's.
But that's just
Well, it's also the grade is also based on whether or not you reply or respond to this complaint or this grievance.
Yeah.
So maybe Valve was just like, whatever to the Better Business Bureau grievances, but yeah, no, I totally see what you're talking about, and also keep in mind, Valve does sell software now, like
yeah, they do.
actual software, not just games.
Just like developing like audio engineering, not Photoshop, but Photoshop-like programs, image editing,
Yeah.
video editing. So they've really branched out. But yeah, you're right. Since they have so much to represent, it's got to be really hard for them
These
to
Better Business
Juggle
Bureau
all the balls. Yeah.
complaints could be from people who have purchased software going, oh, I can get this on Steam and the licensing is easy and I can get all these other things, and they're new to Steam. They're a new class of client to Steam, so they file with the Better Business Bureau rather than...
Well, yeah. So I mean, I think we can basically, like, most likely, summarize this F grade as user error, just on all fronts. Like,
Yeah.
I bought this game, it doesn't work. Return it. Give me my money back. Oh, you can't because it's digital, you moron.
well,
Yeah.
partially. I mean, I agree partially, but Valve has gotten so big and so popular that it's starting to reach into places where into people's pockets, like people who have no idea what they're doing. And because it's not a walk-in store, because it doesn't have sales reps like GameStop, I mean, they take advantage of customers who don't know better. But still, Steam doesn't have that representation. They don't have somebody to say, buy this, and then that same sales rep isn't there to also reassure the customer
Yeah.
that they made a good choice. So maybe that's also part of the reason. I mean, like, these are all reasons why
yeah.
people might complain.
I do
Well-
believe, though, that they have given refunds before.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and I know I know they work with you no matter, like, in any way they can. Basically, like they'll help you out, hook you up with points, like give you store credit or whatever. I know that they're like reputable in that way. I wonder if it's I wonder how much of these complaints are coming based on developer, people being upset with the developers, people being upset with publishers or whoever actually created the game. I wonder how much of this is coming from those people, because it's like, I don't know, if you go to Walmart and you buy a waffle iron and you burn yourself, then because it's dangerous, you're going to write a letter to the waffle iron company, or you're going to call their support, but you're not going to go back to Walmart and complain. But with Steam, it's like, maybe people don't know where else to go. They don't know to go to the website. They don't know to go to, this, the game developer has their own line. Maybe they just think, oh, I just talked to Valve about it, and then Valve has nothing to do with it. They can't do anything for you because it's not their property. And so then, I get upset, and I'm like, well, Steam didn't help me out. I'll let everybody know. Put them on blast, I just wonder how much of it is on that side. Obviously you're right. They're with the, what is it, movie editor, Steam movie editor, what, they're doing all these things, and they're supporting all this software, and they so the games do have to go through something to get onto Steam, though it seems like the requirements are getting less and less every day.
Right.
But they do their portion of the work, and I think that maybe a lot of this flack is coming from people who just don't know what they're doing or don't know where to go.
Right.
Next week on Hug Jacket Gamers, is Steam becoming Newgrounds?
Yeah.
Oh God. All right. So to summarize, like, basically Valve getting this F grade from the Better Business Bureau, we speculate that it might be because they don't have the representation, the customer service team that walk-in stores have. They represent so many products that they can't possibly provide good support for all of them. Like, it's such a wide range.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff is new also. They started using video editing, selling video editing software, audio software, stuff like that. That's a new market that attracts new clients that aren't familiar with how Steam works. One last bit of speculation that I want to throw in there. Do you guys think that developers or distributors make more money by selling their games through walk-in stores rather than selling through Steam?
No, they're making way more money from Steam. I think it's going like rapidly towards digital sales.
Because I was gonna say that, dang it, I was gonna say that maybe if Steam is offering such good deals all the time because they have price reductions all the time and coupons and so forth, maybe developers are like trying to pay off the Better Business Bureau and try to have Valve lose its credibility. But yeah, that was just a thought.
That's a good way to look at it.
Good
but
conspiracy.
yeah,
It's a good conspiracy.
I'm not sure if that's the case though, because it's not always the fact or like the case that developers are making more money on Steam. With big AAA games that might be the case because of the sales all the time. So more people are going to buy that game on that platform. But
Right.
the fact is that it offers so much that walk-in stores don't. So it's not I don't know if it's really comparable or a threat in that regard.
Right. Well, Tor is twirling his beard, which means he probably wants to talk about Elder Scrolls.
Okay, Tor, let's talk about Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls Online just became a buy-to-play MMO with an optional subscription. So that means
with a Tuesday release date, just like every other game,
yeah,
like a real game.
a re-release date. It's called Tamriel Unlimited. I don't know. I mean, apparently it got a big update. Apparently now there's a justice system and you can like steal from people and kill people.
You can Batman people.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I never played MMOs. I mean, I played MMOs online in the past, but it seems like they're all so samey
Have
and
you
they
tried
don't.
playing MMOs offline?
Yes.
It's very difficult.
Never mind. Yeah, I meant
I know, I'm
RPGs.
just
All right. I'm
Quick
teasing.
fact,
Just
back in the
teasing.
day, EverQuest had an offline mode where you could go through the tutorial offline. And it's almost like playing an MMO offline.
I'm sorry, Peter.
Let me to fix that. I apologize. I misspoke. I don't like MMORPGs because they all feel so samey. I used to play a bunch. I can't for the life of me remember what the fuck they were called, but I never got a different experience out of any of them. And I feel like that cycle is continuing. I mean, people can argue that all first-person shooters are the same, but as far as RPGs go, they're so vast and so detailed, and yet the level-up system and the way that you earn experience points and you just get stronger throughout the game, I feel like that's always been the same. It's never changing. It's never been tweaked really all that much. Not enough for me personally to become interested in them. I mean, I understand their appeal, but I feel like investing so much time into a world that's been done over and over and over isn't worth my time at all.
Yeah, I think I can definitely agree with that, and I think that's probably why I stray away from those games generally. Just I understand that it's like a community thing, and that's pretty cool. You find a guild to play with, and or a clan or whatever, and then you go out and you raid, and I have a buddy who plays this free MMO called Rift, and he says that he wakes up at 6 in the morning to raid with these people, and he said like, oh my god, I hate having to wake up. He moved from the Philippines, where when he raided with these people it was like 10 at night, and then he got so attached to these people that like when he moved back he now has to wake up at 6 in the morning to raid with them, which is kind of that's cool, that's awesome. Like it's cool that you can get that kind of like feeling and you want to have that solidarity with people, but it is very cookie cutter in the way that all of these people approach these games, and I do wonder if there's like a way that we can just shift the paradigm in a different direction, or blow space matter, just like
We have shifted the paradigm.
make MMOs into something that's not the same over and over and over, and it can't just be the combat, it can't just be the PvP system. It can't just be this, that. It's not these systems. It's the systems themselves that are making these things the same.
the game that shifted the paradigm, Eric and Tor, is Destiny.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
bullshit.
man.
Just
All
kidding, just kidding.
I will say that one MMO that I have played that played differently than any other MMO is Star Wars Galaxies, which I can't tote enough. But that game was different in the way that you leveled up because you had to actually do the thing. It kind of like in Skyrim, like you have to actually do the thing to level up in it. You can't just level up your character and then, like, oh, now I'm stronger in blaster fighting because I
Blastered people.
well, that's what you have to do.
Blaster baiting.
So I don't know. And the game was very like sandboxy, and it was the first sandbox MMO, I believe. And it was very player based on like the economy and what was there. Most MMOs now is basically go do quests, level up, get gold, go to dungeons, get loot,
Complain on Reddit.
complain on Reddit, and
Yeah.
then finally get your epic mount after 120 hours of grinding. So yeah, I don't know. That's what ESO looks like to me. Even with like their new systems, I think they need to put out some sort of trial or like do something because like there's just no way that anyone is going to try this game after having to try it the first time. They've already bought it. I mean, like they've already bought it so they can go try it, but there's no way they're going to get new people into the game without a free trial of any sort because I don't know. The people who didn't buy it for a reason.
I'm gonna make a statement since you brought that up. If Elder Scrolls Online does release a demo or lets you level up to a certain amount for free and then you start paying, like just to attract new players, I'll try it. I mean, I know that a lot of things have changed over the years since I played MMOs. However, for me personally, and I understand that people like them and I respect that, there's a lot to offer in terms of like worlds and social groups and all that stuff. But for me personally, it's not something that I want to go after unless I know for sure that I'm going to have fun. And I think a trial period would be just the thing.
Definitely, yeah. I will say that I was when they announced the game like a couple of years back. I was equal parts stoked and like skeptical about how it was going to turn out, because it's like, okay, the one thing anybody has ever said about an Elder Scrolls game is like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a multiplayer mode? Like, these games are fantastic, but these games are fantastic, but if people are always saying like, well, can you imagine it multiplayer? And so then they did, and it became this thing. It was like, okay, well, this could be really cool. This could be what everybody's been waiting for. And I signed up for the beta. I got into the beta. My buddy and I, we played it for I think like 2 straight days, and we both decided, I love Elder Scrolls. I love the lore. I would probably most likely buy this game to experience the lore and experience Morrowind again, experience new areas that I haven't been able to see in a while, and I would like to go into that, and I would like to experience it, and if it didn't have to be an MMO, that would be great because I'd like to see these new stories and play them that way. But we both decided, after those 2 days, that it definitely was not worth $15 a month, especially after buying it already, because you have to buy it, or you had to buy it for $60 and then pay $15 a month. And I was just like, there's no way. Like, it's just not worth it. It's even though the combat is really cool and very unique, and it has the Elder Scrolls flair, there were just some systems that were like, so MMO, like more saturated with MMO than Elder Scrolls, going in and stealing things from a house. There's not just everything laying around in a house that you can steal. There's cabinets where you can go in and take a cup or something like that. And it's always just, it's like a dinky, like MMO version of something that should be in an Elder Scrolls game. And, maybe now it'll be worth it. Maybe with this justice system, it'll be cool. Maybe it'll get me. I mean, I am really like looking at it with like hungry eyes and thinking, man, I really just want to play this game. But I also, a trial period. Just give me a trial period. Let me play it for free. Let me play it for a bit, If I like it, I will give you money.
If the game is that good, then let people try it, because then they'll buy it.
Yeah. If you give me a free trial period and it's amazing, I'll give you $120 to buy the game.
High fives. We all agree.
All right.
All right, Tor.
So this is Unhealthy Obsessions,
Unhealthy obsessions.
where we talk about games that we're excited for.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're all a little bit excited.
This actually,
You sound so excited,
If
Eric.
you get my drift.
Legacy of the Void, which is the StarCraft
What is that,
2
Tor?
expansion.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I probably interrupted.
The StarCraft 2 expansion, Legacy of the Void. So, anyways, I'm excited for this just because of the storyline. This is actually one of the very few storylines that like I really like. I don't know. I played StarCraft 1, Brood War, StarCraft 2. Played both the expansions. The storyline's really interesting. Kerrigan's hot.
Kerrigan, who's Kerrigan?
Kerrigan is this girl who
Is that
has
Morgan?
psionic power. Yeah.
From Dragon Age? The Witch?
No, kind of. I don't know. Does she turn into like a weird hot alien creature and then turn back into a human?
She does have it does have transformative powers. But I think it's usually like spiders and stuff like that.
Oh, is she hot when she's a spider?
Yeah.
Then probably kind of like that.
A little too hairy for my taste, but
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. What about EverQuest Next?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Also, speaking of changing the paradigm of MMOs, they're trying with this game, and apparently Daybreak Games has actually they have the biggest team on EverQuest Next, even though they've had a lot of cuts. So they are introducing features like the consequence system that will allow servers to be different from server to server, and world events are going to be different from server to server. So cities might be built in one server, and a different city might be built in a different server. And depending on how the players like play in the regions, and how like dense like the dark elf population is, they can take over more territory and pacify, like they can kick gnolls or trolls or like goblins out of a forest to take their land, to take their resources, to build like a castle, and then there's a consequence for that though. Like if the players actually do that, they might attack back with a larger force.
Oh.
And there's some PvP aspect to it as well, like, different factions that don't agree, like the Dark Elves and the High Elves and stuff, like, they might be doing some sort of, like, mining operation near each other, so they might have quests, for people aligned with that faction to go and mess up that operation.
it's really good that they went through the trouble to weed out the stereotype of dark elves always being the ones that are the high elves, Because I think most people think, when they think dark, they think high.
Yeah, no, I think of Dark, but then
Oh, okay.
again, I don't play MMOs. I don't play RPGs all that often.
It was a double entendre.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Went over
I
everyone's
was speaking
head.
to conservative America.
Oh shit! Can we say that on the podcast? 'Cause that's kind of.
I was speaking to conservative America. When they think dark elf, they think high elf. That's what it was. It was a double entendre. It was a joke.
Okay,
It wasn't a representation of anything that we think. It was just a joke.
And Daybreak Games came from Sony Online Entertainment.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So for our viewers who listened to the last podcast, all 9 of you, or 8 of you, because I listened to it too.
Yeah.
This is like a little continuation on that news. Cool beans. How about Overwatch? I've never heard of this game.
Overwatch is the new Blizzard game. It's going to be, from what I can tell, it's like an FPS.
Anime FPS type thing.
It's what's the game? Team Fortress 2 like, right? Where there's it's character based. Each team, you have all these characters. They have special abilities. They're all unique and cool, and they have special that they can build up to use against the other team. And it's all kind of looks MOBA-esque or something like that, but it evokes more Team Fortress 2 than anything, I would say.
Yeah.
But they all, there's a cool guy who shoots, he's like shoots arrows at everybody, and that's his thing. And he's got this
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, he's got this Japanese theme going on. So his ultimate or whatever is, he could like launch this ethereal dragon or dual dragons that spin through the level and annihilate everybody in their path. And all the characters look super unique and super cool, and it just looks like a whole bunch of fun. It kind of gives the vibe of like the Team Fortress vibe of like, if you're not there day one, then you're gonna be lost.
I was.
But
I think that like you're saying though, with the MOBA element, I think the reason for that is because like there's characters in the game, not classes.
Yeah.
And on that note, when they announced this and they announced that one of their characters' name was Torbjorn, I got like 100 messages on Facebook. People were like, "Oh, this reminded me," and I'm like, "Thanks." This is a fucking short little dwarf with a giant beard, but it looks like a butt.
Go ahead and explain
Beard butt.
Torbjorn for people that don't know.
Torbjorn is the long version of Tor. Tor is short for Torbjorn.
Are you Tor?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
So our podcasting partner is a butt beard dwarf.
Yeah, I think you should refer to me as co-host. It's in the contract.
Sorry, co-host. Yeah.
Co-host Torbjorn Nordgarn.
Yeah.
The Tucker Derbs.
And then this is the last game on the list that I don't know anything about, but what's No Man's Sky?
All right, let me tell you about No Man's Sky, bro. All right, so there's this indie game called No Man's Sky coming out that looks insane, and there haven't been too many videos articulating what exactly the gameplay is about, other than
Could be vaporware.
There's no early access. It's like this crazy thing where they just release videos for the game until it's out. Whoa, strange, right? Strange concept. But
feels like we did that at one point in time.
yeah, right.
It seems, I'm looking at screen caps and promotional stuff right now on the screen, and it looks like Jurassic Park meets
Star Wars?
well, this picture in particular, but Jurassic Park and space.
Yeah, okay, so the idea is that it's like procedurally generated, and that your universe is like a seed that is specific to you.
So it's like Spore.
So yeah, it's like Spore. Yeah, it's like Spore in Minecraft, where, that's your universe. And I don't know, I haven't looked into how they plan on implementing the multiplayer, like the MMO aspect of it. I know that they have, people can come and see your planets and your worlds and stuff, but all of the worlds are supposed to be procedurally generated, so you go there and it's brand new, and you land there and you explore, and maybe there's dinosaurs, maybe there's a weird black hole portal or something like that. Everything's really the design of it is very unique and cool, and
maybe there's a bunch of guys sitting in cubicles programming procedurally generated video games.
Yeah, probably. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. But there's supposed to be big space battles, supposed to be big, FPS ground battles and all that business. It just looks fantastic, and for a game that they haven't really showed much actual legitimate gameplay or told you any of the premise whatsoever, other than these two concepts of procedurally generated multiplayer space travel games. It just looks pretty sweet. The studio, as far as I heard, I don't know where I heard this or if it's true or not, but I remember when it was getting kickstarted, and then it got funded, it reached its goal, and then I guess at some point the studio, I think, is in Miami or something like that, and there was like a big hurricane or a big flood or something like that, and it like wiped out their studios, and so they had to start from scratch, which is kind of crazy. But to see that they're still on track and still putting out content that gets us hyped for the game is kind of cool.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the last two games on our Healthy Obsessions, because they're the only ones I really know anything about.
They're unhealthy.
They're rather unhealthy.
They're unhealthy. They're like Ruffles.
Taco Bell.
They're like Taco Bell, sure,
with ruffles in it.
with ruffles in them.
Like all fast food. I didn't want to solo out Taco Bell because I do eat Taco Bell. It's delicious.
I
And
don't.
it's, unhealthy.
Just kidding. I totally had Taco Bell the other day. So Quantum Break is almost like a platform puzzler. It's a third-person platform puzzler sort of deal. And if anybody wants to see a video game concept that kind of blows your mind and gets you excited about the prospect of solving puzzles constantly, go ahead and take a look at a trailer for Quantum Break, because that game looks beautiful. It looks almost photorealistic as far as what footage they've shown so far. But you can slow down or stop time. There are certain aspects, certain parts of time that you can't freeze. So, for instance, like if a car is falling out of the sky and hitting the ground, that might stay on a loop forever, and you have to find your way around it, even though the rest of time is stopped around you. Like, it looks very pretty, and I know very little else about the game story-wise, but looking at these still images as well as some of the promotional trailers that I've seen for it, it's definitely something that I can get behind, and definitely something that's caught my attention.
It's funny to me because this, from the very start, when I saw the E3 release or whatever, I think it was E3 a year, 2 years ago. I actually thought, because it was after you recommended The Last of Us, and you tried to get me into that, which I still would like to play through it, but haven't to this day. But I was thinking like, oh, this is a game that Peter's gonna like, or Peter will like this game, or Peter will think this is cool, or I should show this to Peter. But the thing that I don't really like about it is that they're trying to pair it. As far as I've seen, I can't tell if the TV show is going to be included in the game or like some external source of information. But the way the game is going to play is much like an action TV show, and that's what their goal is to have like live action scenes and live action episodic moments, and then incorporate gameplay around that. And I just, I'm skeptical just because I've seen things like that before with like Defiance and
Like the early Command and Conquer games where they have live action scenes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what that's what it brings up is Yuri popping up on the screen.
Yuri.
Yeah. But it's like a third person. It's got the Gears of War combat-esque things. It's got puzzle solving, the platforming. It does look promising, but I'm just skeptical.
Well, thanks for that. I'm definitely going to be looking out for more information on this game, because it breaks my heart that you haven't beaten The Last of Us yet, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna forgive you.
My only comment, because this is the only game I don't really know about on today's show. My only comment is gonna be, why do they always have to make the female lead so fucking annoying looking? It's like, she just, like, there's like 10 pictures of her like just yelling like, ah, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that is kind of odd. Like, every picture, you could type in Quantum Break to Google image search, and
Yeah, like,
she just has like a face, or a face, or a
why?
Or then there's like the face right
there's
there.
like-
or like there's a or a
I'm about to cry face.
Yeah, there's just like,
Well, that one is alright, because that one looks like she's like, oh, maybe
She's
I'll have
squeezing the
sex
poop
with
out.
you.
It's
No. I thought it looks like
You
she
need
was
to get
just,
those
like,
looks
judging
figured
them.
out, Tor, because poop look and sex look the same to you.
No, I'm talking about like, just like random, like,
I know,
this
I know.
random dude. Maybe.
all right,
It's
guys,
the only one though out of like 30 images.
let's talk about Halo 5.
Yeah.
Tor
Halo.
doesn't like Halo.
I don't dislike Halo.
I'm gonna give my position on Halo.
Okay.
It'll only take a couple of seconds. Well, maybe more than a couple. I never liked Halo 1. I really liked playing Halo 2 with my friends on multiplayer. I thought Halo 3 sucked, but I enjoyed playing with my friends on multiplayer. I did love Halo ODST. That was the first time they released a Halo game that had characters and like intrigue and Nathan Fillion's voice. But moving on from that, when they released Halo 4, I definitely saw that they were trying to do something a little bit different. It was a new company. Basically, 343 Industries used a lot of Bungie's old staff, but they also had tons of their own new people. I think that they succeeded in making a game that was very dramatic. You got to know Master Chief in ways that you hadn't seen him before. He wasn't just an analog for you. He wasn't just a character that you put yourself into. You could put yourself into him and still experience his story. You could still become emotionally attached to what he personally is going through, even though you are the one performing all his actions. I really enjoyed his story arc with Cortana and everything that happened in Halo 4. Plus, multiplayer was kind of awesome. Not as good as Halo 2, but with Halo 5, they plan on bringing back a lot of those elements, as well as bringing a lot of changes to the Halo multiplayer formula. One big thing that I heard people were complaining about was looking down iron sights for every weapon. They hadn't done that in Halo before, and it was going to be assigned to the left trigger, like you'd expect for most first-person shooters. So that's one change that people are complaining about. But as far as the game itself goes, and why I'm excited for Halo 5 is I want to see the story continue. I'm really curious as to what will happen to Master Chief given the events of Halo 4, which I won't spoil, even though I'm sure nobody cares. I really want to know where he goes, who this new character is. They introduced Agent Locke, who looks like maybe a third or fourth generation Spartan. He seems like a very strong protagonist or maybe an antagonist for Master Chief. It's unclear yet, but we do know that he's working with the Arbiter, Master Chief's former companion. And I expect there to be a lot of heartbreak, but also it's the second game in a new series and a new direction for Halo. So I'm expecting it to end with a lot of loose ends. Like, maybe not on the level where Halo 2 ended, where you feel like you're in the middle of a fight and Master Chief is descending upon Earth on a spacecraft and he gets hailed. They're like, Master Chief, what are you doing here?
Finishing this fight.
Yeah, he says, finishing this fight. And then the game ends. I totally expect Halo 5 to have an ending similar to that, but I expect the narrative to be much more high stakes and much more engrossing than any Halo game to date, and I think that's a thing that will grant it legitimacy for people who think that Halo is just a first-person shooter that, meatheads play or people that are less than 14 years old play. A game that's serious and that has a message or a moral or something for you to take away apart from killing aliens.
Yeah.
Didn't they, say, I don't know, during the creation of Halo 2 that Halo 3 was going to be the last Halo game?
They did, but that was
Bungie
Bungie.
Oh.
That Bungie makes, yeah.
And then Microsoft bought the rights in 343 or whatever.
Well, actually, no. The last Halo game that Bungie made was Halo Reach.
That's right.
And that was awful. Being the last Bungie game, being the last Halo game,
the last good Halo game that Bungie would make.
possibly. But
I liked Reach. I liked the end of it. I thought it was really cool the way it ended because it's just like the whole point of that story is that there's no hope and that
you know how it's gonna end.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when Halo 2 came out. I believe it was when Halo 2 came out. I think it was in 8th grade or 9th grade, something like that. And I remember going and buying that Eric Nyland book. And this is way before Halo Reach was even like a concept of a game. And reading The Fall of Reach and thinking man, this is cool. This would be a cool game if they had all of these characters and if they had this happen. And it was really well written and it gave me more insight into the lore because at that point the lore was kind of confusing and with all this Forerunner business and Covenant business and different races and species and all this it just seemed a bit convoluted for what we could fit into a game. And then I read that book and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I kind of get a better understanding of the timeline here and where we stand. And I know more about John, the Spartan 117 and
AKA Master Chief.
Yeah, and so
God, we're such nerds.
I really liked Reach for that reason. I think the story was pretty rad, and I think as far as stories go, it was probably comparative to ODST for you. You know, I thought it was like one of the more compelling in the series as far as story arc goes.
I really think that Halo is underappreciated for the backstory, like the background of the universe that the game creators developed. But I have two questions. We got to move on because we're running out of time for this segment. But I want to ask you, Eric, what you're excited for with Halo 5 specifically, and then Tor, after Eric's done, I want you to tell me what Halo 5 would have to do in order for you to see it as a game that's worthy of your money, of worthy of your time. So, Eric?
I definitely, I don't know. I would like to see exactly like what you said, like a traditional Halo story where I can get behind the characters, or I guess that's not non-traditional. One of the offshoots like Reach or ODST, where the story is really cool, and it doesn't put you in a titanium Hulk and just you put a naked blue woman in front of you and say shoot things. I would like to see that, but I'm definitely most interested to see the multiplayer. The co-op could be awesome because that was always like a huge draw for me, was the co-op. And I think in Halo 3 when they had like 4-player online split screen, it was like the coolest thing.
Crazy. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that was great. So I mean, just to see some sort of innovation like that would be pretty rad. And obviously I love story in games, and to have a good one again would be pretty nice.
Okay, so just give me a 5-hour-long movie, like live action movie with awesome special effects, and I'll buy it. Cause I don't know. I think I really like the Halo story. I just don't like playing Halo campaigns. Like the reason I guess I kind of procrastinated on getting into Destiny is like I don't want to like traverse the same BS over and over and over again. And I know they've kind of branched out from that, but like
especially with
the
the new company
weird too. And yeah, like there's like the new company that's kind of helped that out, but like I don't know. Halo 1 was great and that was good enough for me. And then Halo 2, like, I didn't even beat it, so I just stopped caring. But the storyline, like, I've read into it and I've seen some stuff. If you gave me a 5-hour-long movie that's, like, from when, like, the rebellion was happening before contact with the Covenant, to, like, what's going on now and the story of Halo 5, I'd pay $60 for that. But I'm not going to...
I'll write you a screenplay of what goes on. I'm not that knowledgeable on the backstory in the universe, but I know that there are so many layers and the history goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Just a ridiculous time frame. I know that about Halo, and I know that you could definitely make a pretty interesting movie using that backstory. I mean, you can with most video game universes, but as far as Halo goes, if it is a game that defined a generation, at least for a little while, and it's still got diehard fans and new fans coming in. Like it's a machine, it's a beast that people are currently riding or being fed into, or running away from, kind of like you are. I mean, there's a lot that people don't see from looking at it on the surface, and I feel like that's a failure on the marketing and the advertising's part. But if you do look into it, they released so many promotional materials that are live action, or some of the trailers for Halo 3. There was the one where they had the War Museum. I don't know if you guys remember
cool.
that.
Yeah.
But that is so... look it up. The Halo 3 trailer, War Museum. Like, it's pretty touching.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
And there's just so many aspects to enjoy, even though I feel like the older Halo games are inferior to the new one in terms of storyline. Narrative development, character development, like it still has those backstories that you can explore. It just sucks that you have to explore them on your own time and not within the game itself. So that's my complaint about Halo, but I really do think it's going to get better from here on.
I just want to roll with something real quick. I always thought it was really cool, just like you said, that museum for Halo 3. I always thought it was so cool the way that Bungie really like push these adverts and like these shorts and stuff as much as they could to make their like world very real. Like they spent a bunch of money to make a really good, like really well made short video. And you know, there were a couple of them where like they were, you know, like live action battles. I can't remember what the name of them were, but they were really cool. And I always thought it was so cool the way that Bungie put all this effort into making their universe so real, and like hiring all this talent to put out some really good, cool videos and stuff without ever actually making a series or ever actually making a movie, and making people just go like, I want a movie, I want a series, I want to see this in action, you know. And all we have are these like little snippets. But I think, you know, that's days of old, you know.
Yeah.
But I really loved that when I was younger.
Well, we should go on to our next segment. We call this Midnight Therapy Sessions. These are the games that we're playing currently, or that we've discovered, or recently rediscovered.
Or streaming.
Or streaming, in Tor and Eric's case.
Yeah.
So, Eric, why don't you start us off with Dark Souls 2? I mean, I know that you and Eric have been playing that, or you and Tor have been playing that a lot, and
Yeah.
You love and hate it?
Oh yeah. It's Dark Souls 2 is awesome, and I mean, if you're new to the series, then that's going to be the one that you know, if you play that first, it's not really going to ruin anything for you, and in fact, it'll probably get you to go back. You know, that's the way Dark Souls was. Like I played that, and I was like, okay, I got to get a PS3 so I can play Demon Souls. That's the end all be all. Like I got to do it. And
you were like, I get a PS4 because
exactly right. It's just
Sony needs to ride that train a little harder.
Oh yeah, it's the Halo of PlayStation for real, man. That's serious. Yeah, but it's awesome. You play it and you die, and then you beat, you know, a boss, and you feel really cool and you feel empowered, and then you get a cool weapon and you can't use it until you spend hours dying, and then you finally get to use it, and it sucks, and you find a new weapon, and it's awesome. But yeah, we're Tor and I are doing a stream until the release of Bloodborne, which is in a couple of days. It's actually on Tuesday of this week. It's now the 18th, so you can catch us. Just look up Hug Jacket Gamers on Twitch, and you can find our stream.
Well, this will be out on the 19th. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean,
or the
you know.
20th or whatever, but
Whatever,
on
man.
the 24th.
Okay,
We're
but
here.
you can watch us on Twitch play Dark Souls 2 in hype.
And then eventually Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Also.
And I think when Bloodborne comes out, we have a plan to do like a 24-hour live stream where we just balls
Pooping
to the wall
bags.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very unhealthy but very fulfilling day of Bloodborne 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably be streaming Dark Souls probably up to that point, right?
Yeah, until we can download and play the game. I'd say.
Now, when I came in here, you guys had Skyrim on the computer. Did you guys do any mods or anything? Because I don't think you guys had it on PC before.
Yeah. So far, I've just put perma in Skyrim. I think I need to do some other stuff with it, but like I've been playing around with it. There's a bandit mod that I put in there that like adds more patrols, but
It does. It's crazy.
Oh, you saw a lot more bandits?
Oh my god, I've run into so many bandits.
And then there's also one that I want to get that does the Civil War mod, and it just adds like random battles.
NPCs battling.
Yeah, and it's not just Stormcloaks and Imperials. It could also be like the Draugr and bandits and thieves and stuff like
Night
that.
Elves and Nords.
And the coolest one is we used Live Another Life.
Yeah, that was
mod,
sick.
and so that allows you to start the game in a different way than the vanilla start, where you start basically as the Dovahkiin. You basically don't start that quest until you go
Find it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like go become the Dovahkiin.
Gives
So,
you like 8 options, 10 options of like
there
things
was
that
like
you
12, and they keep adding more too. Because like I have never seen the one that we chose, which was you were like friends with Eric the
Slayer. I think Eric the Slayer or something like
child. So like he's your like companion. I don't know.
And you
was
start
he
in the
with
middle
you?
of nowhere. Yeah.
Okay, I got lost. I lost him, I think, but I was just making my way up to like the Conjuration area. But like, it changes a lot of the skill trees and stuff, and it also adds like 200 new spells. The perma mod does
New weapons too. Yeah.
some new weapons. But it's really cool. I think modded Skyrim like is better than Elder Scrolls Online because like
Probably.
it's just like the Elder Scrolls experience is a solo one, or one that you play like on the couch, you know. So that's my opinion. I think that, like, you know, you play it on the couch with a friend. I think modded Skyrim is just a much better idea, because Elder Scrolls Online, like, yeah, sure, you can hang with your friends, but like it's just very MMO-y, and that's not what Elder Scrolls is.
I would say that also, if you're gonna start playing Dark Souls, that it is also a game that's way better with friends, because you know, dying together is better than dying alone.
Yeah.
So both of you guys have been taking turns playing Dark Souls 2 and different Skyrim mods?
We're trying to build a modded Skyrim, like a stable modded Skyrim client to
Oh.
play on.
Okay, I get it. So you guys are just adding stuff and seeing what works.
Yep.
Okay, cool. As far as I go, my midnight therapy sessions have been spent playing The Last of Us multiplayer. I
How is
mentioned
that,
this.
by the way?
Yeah, I mentioned this briefly last week on last week's episode, but for some reason, Michael Workman, whom we never hear from, but he did grant us his PS4 for a very, very, very long time, and he's the one who introduced The Last of Us to me. He contacted me and said, "Hey, buddy, let's play some video games." And then he bought me a headset for the PlayStation 3,
cool.
and we started playing The Last of Us multiplayer. And it's so cool. If you guys have never visited that aspect of the game, you basically have 3 different game modes. My favorite is called Survivor. And how that particular game type starts out is you have the arena, the map, whatever, what have you. And there are different toolboxes scattered throughout. You have 2 teams, and as Team 1 or Team 2, you go around trying to pick up the toolboxes, and inside there are different parts that you can craft together to make more weapons, like Molotov cocktails, health kits, shivs, and at the same time, you're trying to eliminate the enemy team. Now, there are 6 rounds total, or it's whichever team wins first, gets to 4 wins first. But there can be 7 rounds if there's a tiebreaker. The last round is a tiebreaker. And it gets so intense because you also have a time limit for every round that you play. The losing team, if your team is losing, excuse me, if your team is losing, you're more likely to get better things inside of the toolboxes. And the whole point of this isn't to eliminate the enemy team per se, because between loading screens, you also have a clan that you're managing. It just shows up as dots on a screen that tells you how many people you have alive in your village or your clan or whatever. And every game that you play, you have to kill more people or craft more items in order to gain supplies in order to feed your clan. And if you have a bad game, people are going to get sick, people are going to die. Occasionally, a random event will occur where maybe some hunters invade you and they kidnap a bunch of your villagers, and you have to do a certain task, like you have the option of completing executions or different combinations of play styles in order to train your village to go back and rescue your people. That kind of thing. It's so in-depth.
This
yet
is
so,
Last of Us?
Yeah, it's
Oh
so
my
in-depth,
God, what?
yet so simple at the same time. And I enjoy the way the multiplayer forces you to play in a very different way than you do in single player, because single player is very cut and dry. The gameplay is there to drive the narrative forward.
Yeah.
However, in multiplayer, if you don't have a strategy like gather as many toolboxes and help your teammates, if you don't have a strategy like that, then you're going to lose all of your villagers, your whole team's going to lose. It's totally, you guys are totally dependent on each other, unless you get very lucky. But you guys are totally interdependent, and I love that aspect of that game.
Are the clan things, are they are the people in them NPCs?
Well, you don't. It's not actually. They're not 3D modeled or anything. You literally have just dots representing
dots. Okay.
who's alive. But you could also link the game to your Facebook account, so
Okay.
it'll show pictures of your friends,
that's
and it'll
funny.
say like, Tor Nordgaren is picking berries, or
Oh, that's strange.
or Peter has died of dysentery. You know,
That's crazy. Okay.
I think that's Oregon Trail.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, being able to revisit that and experience that new thing out of an old game is very rewarding. So it got me thinking, what if I played Battlefield Bad Company 2 again? And I actually have this on Steam on my PC. Hardly anyone is playing right now. But comparing that to Battlefield 3 and 4, I mean, they are much more serious. There's a lot more different ways to play. But when you boot up Battlefield Bad Company 2, the design of the game, like the aesthetics and the way the game looks, it's basically telling you like, hey buddy, this game's about killing stuff, but also it's kind of fun and campy. And I remember when I used to play with my friends, there would be in order to lock on to a helicopter, for instance, an engineer would have a trace gun, and they have to shoot it at the helicopter. It has to land and stick, and it turns into this big, bright, glowing red dot on the helicopter. And at one point, we got tired of being berated by an attack helicopter, so everyone on our team switched to engineer. We all fired darts at it. The thing was covered in red, glowing dots, and then we all shot our rocket launchers at the same time. It tracked, and all of them exploded at the same time. It was just like, it's cool, it's fun stuff. If you're tired of the serious tone of modern shooters, go back and try out Battlefield Bad Company 2, single player or multiplayer. Like, it's a romp. It's a lot of fun. It's, you know, it's rock and roll with a little bit of with some silly jokes on the side. I really enjoyed that when I played around the first time, but going back into it, like, I just appreciated it a lot more.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah. So just in general, I just encourage people to go back and revisit the games they played a long time ago.
Okay, so I guess to wrap this up, we're going to go ahead and do the Hug Jacket giveaway. This is generally where we do comment replies and stuff like that. So far, after the last week, we had Roleplay Domain, who had requested me send him a link to the podcast when we launched it, so I did, and he replied, and he said, thanks listening now, and he said it was good stuff, so I appreciate you listening to it, Roleplay Domain, and here's a shout out for you. The other thing we got this week was at its react _. He made a new icon for us.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It's really dope, and we're really happy to have it. So we're gonna start using it as our little square icon pick on all the social media websites. And
Yeah, maybe
YouTubes.
throw that up in Facebook and YouTube and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Thank you so much.
There's like a space background. It's really hard to see on mobile phones, but you know, it's really cool looking. I mean, the 3D aspect of it in general is just awesome.
Yeah, I really like it. I didn't see it until I came in today, and it looks bomb.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thanks to anybody who's listening as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we
Thank
should
you,
really express ourselves and let you know that we love you. If we had a hug jacket to give to you, we'd want to be inside of it with you so that we could just hug you as tight as possible.
Oh yeah.
Because right now we're just starting out, but we have several listeners. I guess we could count them on both our hands, and we really appreciate that you guys gave us a chance. You guys listened to this whole podcast. Anybody new coming in, hugs and kisses.
Yep.
And jackets and straps.
And
Yeah.
jackets and straps.
It's slowly turning into a BDSM podcast, but
A hug jacket is a straight jacket.
I would like to thank anyone who has been watching us on Twitch TV /HugJacketGamers, and anyone recently who followed on at HugJacketGamers on Twitter. And we have a Facebook page up now, finally.
We have so much
Hooray.
social media.
Yep. So,
We're definitely mediating the socials.
yep.
Mediating the socials.
And soon it'll be all up on iTunes and everything too. So, like, subscribe, comment.
Do those things.
Do those things.
Internet things.
Yep. That's us done for today.
Meme us. Copy our voices. Put them on a loop. Stick it in a YouTube
Make
video.
Make mashups of us just saying the worst things possible. Just take the worst parts of the podcast. And,
Songify the stupid things we say.
Songify. Yes.
so I want to leave our loonies with this. If you guys
Don't leave
listen
them
to
with
this, if you guys listen to this podcast and you want to say something, absolutely say something. Tell us where you heard about us, whether it's Twitch, whether you just happened upon us. Tell us what you think about us, what we could do better, or what you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.